Live from the cell in Burbank, it's the Nighttime Show. As always, we have with us our highly collectible producer, Matt Walker. I'm the voice of the Nighttime Show, Mike Black. And we have a very special guest with us, producer of countless comedy specials, including those of Ali Wong, Tom Segura, and Bill Burr, and the producer of the toys that made us, Brian Volk-Weiss. And now our host, glow-in-the-dark, rocket-firing, badass motherfucker, Stephen Kramer, Glick-man!
Yeah, baby! Well done, Mike Black. Hi, everybody.
Very
Hello, and welcome. Brian Volk-Weiss, thank you so much, Brian, for having us to your very, very cool office. This is very exciting.
Thank you.
We are surrounded. Surrounded by posters and records of some of the biggest comedy specials of all time, as well as so much cool toy and nerdy stuff. I saw a Death Star, I believe, in your office. This is very exciting, man.
That's an accidental, valuable item.
How
it's
is
a
that?
Really great story.
What is it, please?
Because
it looked like a cookie jar. That's a Death Star.
It is. The thing that's interesting about it is, thanks to Rogue One, there is now and I don't use this word often, plethora of Death Star merchandise.
Oh, yeah.
But up until Rogue One, there was very little Death Star merchandise, and I loved the Death Star.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that cookie jar went on sale. Someone sent me a link to it. I've had that over 10 years, closer, probably 12 or 13 years.
Oh, my God.
I bought it. It got here, and then they basically had a lot of trouble making them because it's a giant clay hollow structure, and then they had a lot of trouble shipping them without them breaking, so they stopped making them. So the belief is there's less than 200 of them that exist.
Wow.
And what makes me laugh about this is I've bought many things in the toy world, also stocks, with the expectation they would raise in value.
Sure, yeah.
And most of them have gone down, if not lost all their value. G.I. Joe issue number 2 is a great example. I paid $75 for that in the 90s, and it is now, I believe, under $1. But anyway, this one thing I got for real, just because it was cool and fun, is now, worth a little money.
That's so cool. It's awesome.
I should not use it.
Part of the problem with Death Star merchandise is people keep blowing it up.
Yeah.
Like on the 4th of July and stuff. However few you have, there are going to be fewer next year.
When I got that, that's very funny. That's very funny.
Thank you.
But when I got that, the only other Death Star merchandise that was pretty not specialized was Taco Bell in the 90s did a Star Wars campaign.
Yes.
And they had a Death Star where you could do like that.
It would spin and explode. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So that was it. There were literally 2 Death Stars. And now there's like something every month.
They had that and a balancing Boba Fett that floated like one of those balancing birds.
I don't remember that, but they had a balancing Cloud City.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was also the first Cloud City, to the best of my knowledge, ever made.
Yes. And they also had a Yoda, but it was just Yoda. It was just like a little rubber Yoda.
In a hologram cube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was such a big deal.
Yeah.
And I even remember as a kid being like, why is Taco Bell doing this?
Right. And it was at the time when no one was doing any Star Wars
because
stuff.
it was before the prequels came out, right?
Right.
Yeah.
No, it was like 96.
They got in early.
Yeah.
It might have been the re-releases.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah.
I think it was those and Bendies. There were like Star Wars Bendies, and that was the only crap on the market for a long time.
And then a lot of that stuff wound up at the 99-cent store, all that Star Wars merchandise, because I have like a notepad that I bought at the 99-cent store with like Star Wars, because like when the prequels came out, they made so much stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like, who really needs like a Star Wars paperweight? Like it's it's nothing, and then like it winds up there. And then
that stuff is... I mean, that stuff is the greatest stuff now. There was a company, I don't know the name of it, that made Star Wars, like, household items. And my favorite one, and they were, like, very creative. They were all made of ceramic. The best one, and you should Google this because you won't even believe it. It's crazier than I'll even describe it. It's like C-3PO leaning back in, like, a bathtub but it's a tape dispenser, and the tape
Yes.
is between his knees. It is.
What?
It is. I don't have that one. The only one I have is.
It looks mildly erotic.
It's so bizarre. It's not. It's
Yeah.
just weird.
Yeah.
really
and it was an
weird.
official licensed product, and the story behind it. That's
There you
it.
go. There's
Yeah.
the photo. That's
Oh
like
my God! What?
that-
Guys, if you're listening to this, you need to Google it. Right
You're
now.
literally
That's so
pulling
weird.
tape from 3PO's crotch.
I have the
That's where tape comes from.
and they're worth they're very like they were like $10 or less at the time, and they're now like $300 to $500. The only one I have, and again, I love it because it's so crazy.
Yeah.
It is a gun turret from the Battle of Hoth.
yeah.
Ooh.
Music box. So you literally twist the turret and it starts playing Star Wars theme.
Such a beautiful moment
just
in the
so
film.
weird.
Really
People
deserves
are
a
really
music
gonna wanna-
box.
Yeah, so
I love that.
I love that.
My
People are gonna
sister
wanna
got
relive
me.
this very
My
often.
sister got me for my birthday a couple of years ago some Star Wars candles from Pick and Save from 1986, 87, and they're it's a Darth Vader and a R2D2 birthday candles, and they're like kind of half melted, but they're still in
love
the
that
package.
stuff.
They're so cool,
love
and they have the
consumer
little
products.
like 59 cents for a birthday candle, and then I got like a little plastic wallet that's like has R2 and C3PO from that time period, like from the 80s.
Yeah.
and I love that
consumer
stuff, man.
products, like bizarre
I love
consumer
some
products.
of the recent, like the Tauntaun sleeping bag.
Oh,
brilliant.
man.
That's
it
great.
has
Yeah.
a
But that-
lightsaber handle.
But I feel like that's
There's a
the
zipper that you open up. And
Oh,
then
that's
you
so
stuff yourself
cool.
inside
But I
it.
feel like that goes the other way. That's the kind of thing where it's like, how come no one thought of that in the 80s?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's such an obvious
Such
I have
sort of thing.
Yeah,
I have a
exactly.
feeling that was pitched in the 80s, and they were
They're
like,
like, "No, it's
Brad,
too
you've done
crazy."
too much cocaine. Go home. Go home.
Gotta wait 30 years for that.
Sleep it off.
But my one of my favorite things in my entire collection on this note is I have a party hat, like one of those little kids' party hats.
Yeah.
Like the pointy hats.
Yeah.
From Dune.
Oh wow.
Whoa.
I don't know if you guys do you know Billy Galaxy. He owns
No.
one of the greatest vintage toy stores in the world. It's
Where?
in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, okay.
You have to say that because there's a Portland, Maine.
Yeah.
Sure.
People
yeah.
always
Portland,
like,
Oregon.
I knew it was Oregon. No, but there's a Portland, Maine. And he gave it to me. And again, irony of ironies, all the money I've spent on my stupid collection, like some of my favorite stuff, I got
Yeah.
for free.
Oh, that's
but
so
yeah,
cool.
all these companies, LJN in particular, thought it was the next Star Wars, having not seen the movie. And there's like
Yeah.
children's bed sheets of like
And they
what's his name?
merchandise
Getting
the
his chest
hell
blown
out of
open.
stuff.
with
You
the
have
sound
something,
device.
Steven. You have something cool that you were given for free by Walter Koenig.
Oh yeah, we talk. I told Brian about that.
Yeah.
It's insane. When we went to interview Walter Koenig from Star Trek, the original series, he had his entire home is covered in
Dick
Star
Tracy.
Trek. Yeah, Dick Tracy and Star Trek
Yeah.
stuff and action figures. And under his Star Trek pinball machine, he had the Marquette. The original makeup design Marquette for Flat
TV?
Top
Flat top.
in the movie Dick Tracy, done by the artist that ended up being nominated for an Oscar for it, and
He won.
it was
Yeah, he
or
won.
He won,
You know,
he
it
won
was
the
Doug
Oscar. He won the
Drexler.
Oscar.
It
Yeah.
was Doug Drexler.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to say, but I know it was like
The
an Oscar
greatest career
involved.
in Hollywood history.
It was sitting there
Went
under
straight
the
from the Oscars
Oh.
to Next Generation.
Yeah.
And then he got into special effects.
unbelievable. So that flat top Marquette was sitting under his pinball machine. And I was like, I love flat top. It's my favorite character from Dick Tracy. And he was like, it's yours. Take it and get the hell out of my house. And then he
was-
gave it to me, and it is sitting
Because he's saying
in
like he's like
living
my
room.
wife wants me to get rid of half this crap. She's
Yeah.
like, you have too much stuff. Get rid of it. So he's just like,
Yeah.
just take it.
Yeah,
he
it was
tries to
great.
Give us a ton of stuff. and
Yeah,
it was-
he really
we're just
did.
like, oh.
That was so cool. That's like
That's awesome.
Yeah. There's a couple things. When I was a kid, I always loved Star Wars so much, and then we got. Then they stopped really making new Star Wars toys, and it was still the 80s, and I still wanted to play with Star Wars toys. And I think it was like 1988, 89, my mom and me were driving around, and we ran into a garage sale. And it was a garage sale at this like giant mansion. And we walk up, and this family was getting rid of their son's Star Wars collection. And they were getting rid of all of his stuff, ships, AT-ATs, the walkers, like every single piece, in giant cases and cases full of never been played with toys. And my mom bought all of them.
Good for her.
And put them in storage. And
She's
I have
like
I have a couple.
The
I have a couple of
doppelganger
them.
of almost everybody else's mom.
Oh, dude, no, she was when I was a little kid, she was collecting Mr. People and on all the toys from like Arby's and would go to like McDonald's and get all, and she still has all of them. They're all in giant cases of like fast food toys were like a huge deal to her. Like she loved that
We have
stuff.
a lot in common.
Yeah.
Mothers is not one of them.
Really? Was your mom not into
Not
toys?
toys.
A lot of that stuff.
I would not call her pro toy.
Was anyone in your family like pro toys when
No.
you were a kid? Really?
No.
Were you kind of the odd man out in that?
I was the odd
way?
man out. I mean, I was an only child, but I mean, everywhere. None of this became cool till 10 years ago. You guys know that.
Oh, yeah, no, completely.
I remember exactly where I was when I realized everything had changed.
Where were you?
I was in a vintage toy store, comic book store in Chicago that I'd been going to for 10 years. Whenever I was in Chicago, I would go there. And I'll never, it was literally just about 10 years ago.
It's right around when Iron Man came out. Yeah.
It was after Iron Man, because Iron Man was the beginning of the change.
Right.
So it was like probably about 8 or 9 years ago. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I just remember looking around. There were all these like regular looking girls in the store. And I was like, what is going on here?
Are you
And
lost?
Well,
I can help you
before
find.
that,
Yeah.
there might be 2 girls. One of them, looked like it was Halloween every day,
Sure.
and the other one, whatever.
Yeah.
And that was when I noticed everything had changed, and I completely attribute it to the Marvel films.
Yeah.
I
absolutely.
completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I
yeah.
remember
Yeah.
seeing at Comic-Con the 8-minute like teaser that they did for Iron Man, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna change some shit." Like I knew that.
Well, I saw the whole movie. I
it
didn't
was gonna
see it
be
coming.
that much.
I
had
didn't-
no idea it was gonna be.
Yeah, it
that
changed. It changed
huge.
absolutely everything.
Yeah.
It's cool to be. It was not cool to be a nerd. In
No,
1980,
absolutely.
85.
Yeah, all of
No.
a sudden my friends were like calling me, going, Ironmonger, is he like that? And I was like, well, sort of.
Why do you ask?
Yeah, what's happening? Is this a prank? I was sure I was getting pranked a lot of
Still
times.
shocking to me. Still
Yeah.
shocking.
It's been good for comic book nerds, like that's it. But there's still a lot of other kinds of nerds who it's not been good for.
Yeah, like are
who?
you-
Well, like me when I sit at home and watch videos on YouTube about Fermat's last theorem, like that's still not cool. It will never be cool. Like watching videos about Riemann's hypothesis will never be cool.
But it's
Yeah,
because you're sitting at home
give it
doing
time.
that. Like, you got to get out there, find
everything's
the other
cool
people
now.
that are into
hopefully,
it, you know?
hopefully we'll have more nerds because more nerds is better. I think. Yeah.
Well, there's different kinds of nerds, which is a great thing.
Yeah. Also, when it comes to women dating and things like this, it's great when they're more accepting of like your nerd stuff,
Sure.
which is a wonderful, nice little byproduct of this
I
situation that
missed
we're in.
that. Like my wife isn't against it, but she's not for it.
Sure,
So-
but they don't. But
I never went out with anyone
They
into
don't
it
go.
ever.
Well, that's the thing is though, if you ever did go out with someone who is a nerd and they're like a nerd about something else that you're not into,
I would love
you're just
that.
like, oh no. Trust me, it's fucking weird. They're like, you ever go out with a girl and she's like really into anime and you're like, what is this stuff?
no, I missed
What is
out on
Dragon Ball Z? I don't understand what the plot of this is.
I would rather have that than have them be exactly into
Yeah,
what
me
I'm
too.
into.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
I don't know,
Because then you're like competing the whole time, like, oh,
Right.
really? Well, in episode 307.
And
you
in
know.
the back of your head, too, you're thinking, if we ever break up, all this stuff is mixed.
Oh, yeah.
oh no,
I'm totally screwed.
Yeah, no,
You know?
that's true too.
You got to put stickers on everything.
Yeah.
Like when
Yeah.
people used to, their CD
Why are your
collections would
initials
make.
on all of these things? Just in case.
Yeah, my
That's a
girlfriend
conversation
is, like,
that's fun.
My girlfriend loves Harry Potter and like really loves Harry
my
Potter.
wife
Like
too.
she went to the opening of Harry Potter Land.
Yeah.
Like she's very, very into that. Your wife's really into that too.
And it's yes, she is. And what I love about it is it makes me understand how she feels about my stuff. Because
Right. This is
find it
ridiculous.
so boring. I remember I was halfway through. I loved the first book. I loved it.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I was halfway through the second book, and I remember I called a friend of mine at the time who was all about Harry Potter, and I'm like, do these all take place in the castle? And she was like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, that would be like if Star Wars only took place in the Death Star. Like,
Yeah, just one environment.
So
this
I
whole
stopped
time.
reading the books. I reluctantly saw the movies, but my wife dragged me to that spin-off a year or two ago.
Oh.
To the play?
No,
no.
The movie.
Crimes of
Oh.
Grizzledorf or
Yes,
whatever.
Yeah.
Did I say it right?
Grizzle
I
farts.
remember
Grizzle
watching
farts.
it, being like, "This is how she feels in a Star Trek movie.
Right.
Like, this is
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
awful."
But see, I've never read Harry Potter or seen any of the movies. But my favorite thing, because I watch a lot of videos on the internet, is before one of the books came out, kids were lined up outside some bookstore, and somebody came driving by yelling at the window, "Snape kills Dumbledore! Snape kills Dumbledore!" And you just see children crying in the line. It was hilarious.
Oh my god.
Is that true? He does kill him, right?
I think
Does he
so.
kill him?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. If I remember correctly.
Spoiler alert on this
I
podcast.
took my girlfriend to Infinity War, and we finished watching the whole thing, and she goes, "Man, these are a bunch of weak assholes getting their ass handed to them by a purple guy. What the fuck was this?" It was great.
I
It was
remember
great.
that-
Just that's the
She
way.
just knew that,
Spoiler
that
alert if
Grimace
you
from
haven't
McDonaldland
seen-
killed them all.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you haven't seen Infinity War, spoiler alert, it's the ending is
That is a big one.
hardcore.
Yeah.
But I remember
If they were
seeing
going to
it.
see it, they've seen it by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when Black Panther vanished, a lady behind me goes, "We just got him," and I was like, "Oh, that must hurt. That has to hurt."
I think he'll be
extra."
back.
God, that's so
Yeah.
funny. That's so funny.
Steven, I just got here. LA Comic Con. The booth looks amazing.
Thank
First
you.
of all, it's so professional. You have these big banners. You have the posters. You have the stickers. Everything is set up. You have those postcards, all the different stuff. How'd you get it to look this good that fast?
I'll tell you what, we really did not have a lot of time to pull this thing together, and it came together so beautifully. And a lot of that really has to do with Overnight Prints. OvernightPrints.com did 4,000 posters for us and 1,000 postcards, and people have been lining up to get these posters.
How
and they're
quick did they do those?
just within like days, within like a few days, they were able to turn around. I mean, overnight, they can do them overnight. We knew that we had a little more time, so we sent them all sorts of stuff. But they
So the posters we've been giving out, these movie quality, like high quality looking posters.
yeah,
they did those that fast.
yeah, they did them
Yeah.
overnight.
If you needed a
they-
movie quality poster tomorrow, you could have that in your hands.
Absolutely.
Nice.
And the prices on them are completely insane. If you use code NIGHTTIME, NIGHTTIME, posters are like $1.99 each. Postcards are 500 4x6 for $19.85, and site-wide you can save up to 91%. That's
So
a crazy deal. That's
you can bring
crazy.
them whatever you designed,
Yeah.
get it put on a poster. They'll have it to you within a day or two, or what?
Yeah, because they're overnight. It's overnight prints.
Oh,
so
the whole thing is done overnight.
done overnight.
Just
yeah.
upload the artwork and you got posters the next day.
What's really crazy
Wow.
is too, it's like when you're trying to get more fans and new fans and introduce new fans to your project, and this is our passion project. That's
Yeah.
what Nighttime Show is. So
But we want it to look as good as
we want
possible.
it to look
we
as
want
good
it
as
to look
possible.
professional.
So when you have people coming to our booth, go, "What is this? What's going on?" And you go, "Here's these gorgeous posters." Every single person wanted one.
Well, yeah,
So-
and I've noticed there's all this competition, all these booths doing all sorts of stuff, lots of babes and whatnot all over the place.
Yeah.
And it still looks amazing.
Yeah, no, this place is the best. But overnightprints.com, you got to go check them out. Overnightprints.com, overnightprints.com. All right, back to the show. So, Brian, where did you start? Where are you from? Where did you grow up?
Queens, New York.
Oh, wow. Okay. What did you what did your parents do for a living? What kind of work
My
did they do?
mom was a microbiologist, and my dad was he was an investigator agent for the IRS, and then became
Whoa.
a judge after he left that left that job. Yeah,
This
So
is
it's a
very
party
s-
house.
it's a pretty serious house.
Pretty
Not
serious
a lot of
house.
goofing around. No.
Oh my God! What did they want you and encourage you to go to school for? Did they encourage you to go and go like, "Oh, you're going to be a lawyer"?
This is a factually accurate statement, as crazy as it's going to sound. In at least 4 generations, I am the first person in either side of my family, especially on the male side, to only have a bachelor's degree. So, like, my mom, my dad, all my grandparents, like, all were doctors, dentists, lawyers, scientists, everything. So, my mom, they wanted me, to become a lawyer or a doctor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And I knew, thanks to Star Wars, at a very early age, that I wanted to go into show business.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, very early.
Yeah.
When I saw the movie the first time, I was born in 76.
Okay.
Right.
So I was young enough when I saw it to not really understand what a movie was.
Right.
And the best way I can describe to you what it was like to me to see it was, and I didn't know what this word was, of course, but it was like I had seen a documentary. Because I saw it for a long time. I was like, I want to join the rebellion. I'm going to be an X-wing pilot, and blah blah. And my mom bought me a book, which I still have, The Making of Star Wars. It was, it was that thick.
Yeah.
Yep.
80% of which was the thick covers, and it had the small models. If you saw the Star Wars episode of Toys,
Yeah.
we literally replicated what I saw in that book. Was that ILM?
So cool.
Yeah.
We shot in a real building, by the way. The real ILM is divided into 3 parts. The building, and ILM was on the far left side, and we shot it on the far right side. So it's the same exact building, but just different part of that building.
Oh my dear God.
In Van Nuys.
Yeah, no, we got to get to, we got to talk about the show. I have a couple. I got a couple more questions
Sure.
for you about youth.
Yes.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to a very small school called the Kew Forest School, which now would be called a private school, but back then it was like a co-op or something.
What were you into back then? Like, what was your?
All the stuff I'm into now. I was
Yeah.
into Star Wars and Star Trek, hardcore, just like I am now. And then, a bit into Transformers, a bit into G.I. Joe. And, I read a lot of Stephen King. I was, again, what's now cool.
Yeah.
I was definitely the odd man out back then.
Well, how did you go from there? And I know we got to focus on this show, but you have produced more fucking comedy specials than anyone I've ever met. So, how did you jump from?
There's a guy who works here.
Right.
He's produced more than me. Other than him, I'm pretty sure I have second place locked.
I think I
As
think
long
so.
as he and I work together.
So how did you go from living in New York to producing comedy?
I went to college in Iowa. I graduated. I drove out here the day after. And, it was a pretty standard story in the beginning, at least. I was a production assistant, so, I got people coffee and whatever.
Right.
Then I met a manager who you know.
Sure, yeah.
You've met. I started off as his assistant. Then I became his partner. Then New Wave bought the company, and I started managing here. I managed for about 10 years. And while I was managing, every now and then, I only managed comedians. So every now and then, I would sell a comedy special with my client, and we would make it because we had all the tools. And then one day, a guy calls me and is like, "Hey, man, you're doing really good work with these stand-up specials. Would you ever produce a special for a non-client?" And I was like, "Fuck no." I'm like, and you know what? That's very disrespectful. Like, we have a great management business. Like, that's really fucked up. And then I was really rude to the guy. And the next morning, I woke up and I'm in the shower. And this is not a metaphor. This really happened. And I'm in the shower, stressed about money and everything. And I'm like, my job is actually to make money. As long as it's legal, it doesn't really matter how. So I called the guy back and I apologized. And I'm like, hey, yeah, we'll do it.
Sorry, Mr. Seinfeld. I apologize.
No, it was an agent. And the comedian was Michael Ian Black. And that was the first special that we ever did. And I always this said a lot about our management business back then. We started actually getting a lot of calls to produce non-client specials.
Sure, yeah.
And all of a sudden, we did 1, and then we did 2, and then we did 3. And then it was like, maybe we'll just start doing these. So we, at the time, and to this, still, I'm not aware of anyone else that makes more than 2 or 3 a year. We've made over 20 a year for 9 or 10 years now.
Holy shit.
But back then, it was insane. People thought I had lost my mind because it was very risky. Because we would spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to make these things. And then, if nobody bought them, again, this was pre-Netflix, SVOD. It was literally... if Showtime or Comedy Central said no,
That's
we're
it.
in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Because it's before the Louis C.K. $5 sell it on your website deal.
We started way before that, but
Yeah.
we went during that, and that whole thing was. Here's what I'll say about that. He did it.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was like, Brian, you're fucked. Like, all the artists are going to start doing that. No one's
Right.
going to hire you. And I remember saying to myself, I'm pretty sure that's not going to be what happens.
Yeah.
But here's how we'll know if I'm right or I'm wrong. Let's see where Louis does his next special.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he did his next special at HBO, and then his next 2 specials at Netflix. So but it was the beginning of what we were able to do. Was we had built this library. And then that library, once all the original license deals with Comedy Central or Showtime or whatever expired, the rights reverted back to us.
Oh, nice.
And then we could keep selling them or keep putting them out there and monetizing them.
Oh, that's
and
smart.
that allowed us to build basically what we are now, which allowed us to, do the tape that became Toys That Made Us and all the other stuff.
So cool. No, that's so cool. I mean, especially to even if because you're not personally a comedian.
Never.
Never
did it once.
And if your passion your whole life has been toys, it's cool to do this kind of thing where you're like, all right, I'm gonna do Tom Segura special. I'm gonna do Pete Holmes special, Ali Wong special, Jim Gaffigan. I'm gonna do all these specials, but secretly you're like, what I really want to do. Like most people, that is what they'd really want to do. But you had like a secretly like, what I really want to do is do this fucking TV show.
Well, toys. So I love, and I don't just love comedy. Like I have truly, I collect historical relics in comedy as much
Sure.
as I do toys.
Yeah.
But to your point, when I was a kid, I wasn't sitting there listening to Carlin albums on repeat. I was playing with my G.I. Joes.
Yeah.
So, I've been very blessed in that I can really, within reason, just do whatever I want to do. Like, I want to do a show about toys. I can make it. It doesn't mean it's going to sell.
Yeah.
But I was able to make. I was very lucky, and it did sell.
Yeah.
So if you
And
look,
it's great. And it's going into your 3rd season right now.
we are wrapping up our 3rd season right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so cool. Toys That Made Us on Netflix. First season was Star Wars, Barbie, He-Man, and G.I. Joe. But here's my question for you.
I'm ready.
Here's my question. The theme song.
Yes.
Well, I know I mentioned this to you before.
This is my favorite question to answer.
The theme song is
It's an 8-part
It's an 8-part
documentary
documentary series
Right.
about the toys that we or something like this, right?
That's right.
So, but they only released 4 first on Netflix.
Right.
Did they say to you at any point in time, like, maybe we should change it to 4-part
Nope.
document? They were just
Never
like,
came up.
wow.
It never came
Because it was
up.
so fucking smart. Because I watched it going, what is that, 8-part? But I only got 4 episodes. So then I was like, oh my God, there's going to be more. We're going to get more. This is so great. I'm so excited. Are you changing the song
I'm
for the
literally
new
now
season?
making a note to myself because I just saw a cut this morning.
Change it to the
And,
24-part
the
documentary.
What we're doing is
The 176-part documentary series.
what we're doing is, and like this is absolutely my favorite question to answer. Inspired by the new opening on Star Trek: The Next Generation, it has become a continuing documentary series.
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
That's smart.
That's
how,
smart.
That's how we dealt with that problem.
Yeah. It's
How
not a
did you-
5-year voyage, a continuing voyage.
That's right.
How did you decide that? Okay, so the original 8 that you decided were Star Wars, Barbie, He-Man, G.I. Joe, Star Trek, Transformers, Lego, Hello Kitty.
Correct.
How did you make the decision on those? Were there other ones originally that you were like, we're going to do these, and then they got cut down?
Yeah,
Or you didn't get enough stuff for them?
So basically, originally it was going to be 10 episodes, and then it went down to 8, long before the paperwork was even signed.
Can I guess on those other 2?
Sure.
Glowworms, obviously, and the Bionic 6.
Good.
I want to
good
guess. I want to
guess.
guess. I want to guess also. Okay, hang on. Mask,
That's actually a good
Is that a
guess.
real guess
That's
or
a-
a
No,
joke
that's not a
guess?
real guess. Okay, hang on.
You missed the whole point of the joke.
No, I know, but I
You're giving
no,
legit
give
guesses.
no,
like
give
Silverhawks.
Give a real guess. Give a real guess. Give a real guess.
Brave Star.
Okay, I have a real guess.
That's a semi-real.
Parker Brothers.
No.
Parker
So not-
Brothers?
not like
That's
board games?
No.
Board games are toys.
That's brothers.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Okay, hang on. My Little Pony. Is My Little
That's
Pony
one of the two.
one of them?
Okay,
was
yeah,
one
I
of the
could
two.
see that one.
Okay.
really
How about-
in season 3 now.
Okay, all right. Hang on. And then the other one would be
Rubik's Cubes.
Like, don't think too hard.
Well,
It's an
I-
easy guess.
I've got.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Is it Thundercats?
No.
Oh, really?
it's not
Wow.
Thundercats. It can't be
Thundercats is a
Thundercats.
failed toy line.
How dare you?
I'm sorry if I have to be the one to tell you this.
It's
One season.
I am leaving.
Oh, it's the Cars.
Oh,
That's a good
GoBots.
guess, but no.
Voltron?
No.
Talking about?
Damn it.
Voltron
So
failed
it's-
even
yeah.
harder. I
Yeah.
think.
Okay, what is it?
Well, he was
It's
saying.
one of the biggest toy lines of all time. It's been one of our rules was the toy has to be in production nonstop, which we broke for He-Man,
Oh.
of course. But it's one of the most successful toys of all time. It's green.
Green.
Oh my God.
Silly Putty.
Slime?
It's four main characters that are all green.
Oh, gee, of course. Yeah. Steven, you can't be serious.
Oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All
He's
right.
from Canada.
Sorry, I was like the Jolly Green Giant. The fuck? I only had one of those to play with when I was a kid.
So those got cut when it went down to 8. I removed those 2,
Got it.
and then
Yeah.
of the 8, 6 of them to me were no brainers. Like
Right.
Yeah,
they
of
were
course.
what they were. Star Trek, I didn't know if we were ever going to get any more episodes, so I just
Yeah.
did that for me. And I was like, it's a great story.
Kudos to you for filling an hour on Star Trek merchandise
I-
when there's not an hour's worth of Star Trek merchandise.
Well, have you seen the episode?
Yeah,
it's
it was
great.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that it was such a crazy story compared to all the
Yeah.
other episodes. Like everything was always out of control.
Yeah,
So that's
everything-
part of what I liked about it.
Well,
But
and I like too that it kind of made that commentary of like there should have been much more done with
Yeah.
this property.
yeah, which
you
is
know.
ironically all happened again thanks to Marvel.
Yeah.
Paramount after 52 years was like, God, it's great. What's Disney's doing with Marvel? I wish we had something like that. And then there's
So,
like,
what is your favorite piece of Star Trek memorabilia that people can buy?
like anybody could buy? Like,
Yeah, like a mass-produced, well, not mass, but I mean something that is not a hey, this is a model that was used in a movie.
All
that,
right.
like you can't get your
Okay,
hands on.
that's a great question. I love the Art Asylum Constitution class Enterprise. I think they nailed it. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It was affordable. It was like $45. Yeah.
And their figures were great.
Yeah.
The,
Gorgeous.
The like
Yeah.
the laser scan sort
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
faces and stuff like that.
Gorgeous.
They are great.
The one
I
thing I
used
have
to
my
love-
eye on
yeah.
that I haven't bought yet is they have the Bluetooth communicator that
Yeah.
you can use as a speakerphone for your phone. That's like the original Sirius communicator. You just like
pretty
whip it out and be.
You know what toy I always liked of Star Trek was the Data action figure because his arm would open. He had a little flap in
See
his
the little-
arm.
yeah.
Oh, the old Playmates one.
The
Yeah.
Playmates one. I always thought that one was really cool. What about Star Wars? What's your favorite Star Wars like toy that was mass produced? Like that you have? Or
So
that,
funny. You guys might be surprised to hear this. I never get asked this question. That's a great question. I mean, it has to be the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, it's so fucking
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a perfect
It's hard to beat
Well,
that.
which one though? The
New
original.
Hope.
big one.
Original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have the scale one, the newer one that's like
Yeah,
to
which
scale. I like that one a lot.
I mean, it's
think-
an outstanding toy.
Yeah.
But again, for me and my
There's a
age, it
nostalgia
didn't have the
factor.
nostalgia
Yeah.
variable, and it was just, if anything, it was just like too good. The
Yeah.
new one, like the escape pod and it was just
Right.
brilliant.
It's not
But
Yeah.
the old
toy enough.
one,
It's that's more like
Yeah.
in a museum model kind of deal.
it is brilliant. I mean,
Did you notice in
absolutely brilliant.
Stranger Things when
Yeah.
they had it flying and it had like a light up hyperdrive? I was like, nope,
Yep.
that's a sticker.
Yeah,
Yep.
that and there were. I saw another huge mistake recently in something where
Yeah.
and I hate to say this because I love the show. The Goldbergs.
Oh, right.
Sure.
It's like, guys, there was no Clone Wars in the 80s.
Oh, were they
Right.
talking about the?
Oh, they had a whole scene in a DVD in a video store, not Blockbuster,
Yeah.
but a video store, and it was like all the Clone Wars, like video
VHS.
cassette
Oh,
holders.
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
Call them up.
I'm calling him right now.
Which shocks me because the people who make that show are hardcore.
No, it was a
nerds.
cutout scene, or it was a scene that was actually
No, it's in the
show.
episode.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
And I've seen it a few
shit.
times.
Unforgivable.
Like the Clone Wars, Boba Fett. Like, yeah.
I'm
yeah.
writing him a letter.
yeah, no,
But
when
That's-
But back to your question, because this is
Sure,
something
yeah.
I love answering. The Hello Kitty episode I did for my wife. So that's the only thing she's into, toy-wise.
oh wow,
And I didn't know anything about it.
But it's also huge. I mean, that Sanrio stuff is
Yeah.
enormous worldwide.
Yeah.
Like it's because I went to. I was just telling you guys before the show. I went to the Japanese American Museum here in LA. Had a Hello Kitty exhibit
Sure.
a couple years ago. I went to because my sister was in town, and it was just
You don't need an alibi. You can go yourself.
there was just
I just felt like it.
I was astonished at how much stuff there was because I remember it when I was a kid, and I was like, if you had to pick one, I was like, I guess the frog one, the Karopipi, whatever, that would be my favorite of the Hello Kitty characters.
Yeah.
But
I got into Gudetama. I'm obsessed with Gudetama. But
it
Which
was
one
like-
is that?
that's the lazy egg. He's just a lazy egg. He's always just lazy.
I have
but,
a feeling we would
but
get
they
along.
had like crazy artwork
Yeah,
at that
no, it was
thing where like
wonderful.
people do like fine art paintings of Hello Kitty and her friends.
Every
Yeah.
episode we did had an expert, sometimes more than one, and our Hello Kitty expert. She was the one who curated that entire thing. She owns a great store on Melrose, I think called Tokyo.
oh Toko
something L.A.
yeah.
Tokyo, LA.
No, it's like Tokidoki. It's like Tokidoki or something.
Tacos LA.
It's something L.A. She's great, but she's in the episode.
Okay.
At the end, she
Yeah.
does a bunch of the interviews.
You know who's
but,
a huge fan that we interviewed? Lisa Loeb.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah, she sang there.
She was like some sort of Hello Kitty ambassador for a while.
yeah, she
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
She did
But-
a tour of Sanrio stores where she would go and sing in the stores
with Hello Kitty.
with Hello Kitty.
Like they
and
were
she had
best
like a
friends
song
or
about
something.
Hello Kitty that she would do, and it was a whole thing.
So funny.
Of all the 12 episodes we've done, other than Star Wars, Hello Kitty is the most profitable toy.
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
If it's
That
you
doesn't
know,
surprise me, actually. Yeah.
by a wide margin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Now,
No offense to Thundercats.
yeah, they'll have their day. No, they won't.
They might. They're coming back.
You never
Sort of.
know.
But the Thundercats fans have been abused quite a bit. We've had a lot of false starts.
Where you're like, Ving Rhames is going to be Panthro. It'll
Yeah, and
be
it
perfect.
never
And then it just
happened.
doesn't happen. Yeah.
yeah.
That was so sad.
And then
That-
he eats too many tacos,
Yeah,
and,
you're like,
and everyone's like,
"Oh,
"Well, the
yeah."
dream is dead." And it happens. But now internationally, what would you say is like one of the most successful toy brands outside of Hello Kitty?
I mean, the number one toy this year, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Star Wars took a real beating this year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, this might be the first year in like 25 years. Star Wars.
How did you
is
feel
not
about that?
number
Were you
one.
surprised by that, or
I'm surprised at all. And I'm not some lunatic Last Jedi nutcase, but I mean, I will say, for me personally,
yeah?
you know, I walked out of The Force Awakens, and I bought every Rey figure I could find.
Totally.
I bought
Yeah.
every Finn. I bought every vehicle. I was obsessed with the characters.
Yeah.
And I will quite possibly never buy another Rey or Finn figure again because of how bad Last Jedi was.
Wow.
When I saw Last Jedi, I walked out of the movie theater and I went. I was like, I'm so annoyed by all the fucking choices that were made. Like I was so annoyed with so much shit.
Everything was
and
weird.
there were things in the movie like Leia getting the Force and flying back onto the ship and stuff where I was like whoa, when it happened I was like whoa, I made that noise whoa in the movie theater, and when Yoda showed up and they had their conversation I was like whoa, cool. And then I saw it a second time and I was like, oh, I don't like that thing with the Leia thing. That's really annoying and fucking weird. And she's she's passed on, and she's the only person that's still alive when the movie ends.
Yeah,
And you're
like it would have been
why the
logically, it would have been a great place to exit that character.
Why on the fucking earth would they keep that character alive when that person has passed, knowing that they knew when the movie came out that it had already happened?
I'm very glad I didn't see it.
Because
of my.
You still never seen it?
No, I refuse. Anything J.J. Abrams touches, I'm done.
Oh, but I thought Force Awakens was a plus. I saw it 3 times.
I thought it was great.
I thought it was
great.
I
but
thought the first Star Trek movie.
I'm out
he got
because
very upset with.
No, I want to kick J.J. Abrams in the balls for blowing up Vulcan. You can't blow up Vulcan. You made a shitty universe where Tuvok doesn't exist, and that is not acceptable. It's not acceptable.
But you know what's weird about that? I agree with you on that about Vulcan.
He could have picked another planet.
But I thought that movie was still so good.
I
loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Not for me.
I truly think if there's anybody who can fix the mess, and I don't even think
when it comes to Star Wars, I 100% agree.
I don't even know how you fix it unless you just pretend it didn't happen.
I think you kind of.
And there is a precedent. Yeah. There is precedent for this. Star Trek V.
Yeah.
Oh,
so Star Trek was a different Star Trek because it was a TV show. It was episodic.
Right.
So Star Trek 6 literally just
pretend
it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But Star Trek 6 is directly tied to Star Trek 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
So if they do that, that could work, but I don't think they'll have the balls to do it.
Well, from the time that...
I think Star Wars is too narrative. It's too linear. Right?
Yeah.
Well, from the start of Last Jedi to the end of Last Jedi, every single thing that anyone tries to do to move anything forward gets ruined. So nothing changes except for... Luke Skywalker stopping them from killing what's her name, but even that is he vanishes, but then he's back in the next movie. Nothing happened.
I knew we were in trouble from the first second, from the first minute or two of the movie.
Yeah,
because again, I'm no military strategist, but I don't think bombers in space is a terribly
wise choice.
Logical thing.
Yeah.
Like
if
you have fighters, with missile capabilities
in zero gravity,
that have proven their ability to destroy Star Destroyers and Death Stars.
Yeah.
Why are you going with slow speed bombers?
Why are bombs being dropped?
Yeah.
In
so
outer space.
that's my point. I saw the bombers in some. I saw like the pictures of them before the movie came out. I saw the Lego thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, cool, bombers. Just assuming they'd be bombing land targets.
Yeah. Right.
So when the movie started and it was bombers in space dropping bombers on other spaceships with a full.
They're dropping bombs in space because then if you miss, it just keeps going.
The whole thing was ludicrous. Yeah. But there's literally a scene at the beginning of the movie where he's heading towards his bomber, Poe, literally yells out, I don't remember, I'll never watch the film again, but literally, running to his X-Wing or something is like, let's go, boys! And it was like, oh, something's wrong.
Something's weird going on here.
Something's very wrong today.
Well, my favorite scene, the scene in the movie that fucking where I went, huh? Was when she hands him the lightsaber on the island, and he takes it. And he goes, oh, this whole thing, and tosses it over his shoulder, and then slowly dances away. I was like, what the fuck just happened?
Did you say was Paul Lynde in the movie? Because that's what you just did.
It was so close to that of him just being flipped it over his shoulder and then literally skipped out of the scene. And she was like, what? And they're like, oh, you mean the thing that people honor the most and this thing that everyone should care about, and we've waited this whole time. The build up to it at the end of Force Awakens was gorgeous. It was Lord of the Rings gorgeous when she is handing him the thing.
I put that up there in probably my top 5 favorite Star Wars moments of all time. Right. And I would argue it's the best Star Wars ending of any Star Wars film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Sorry.
Good luck, JJ.
Listeners.
Good luck. You're going to need it.
JJ, I'll meet you in an alley. Kick your ass.
Leave JJ alone. Hey guys, we're here at LA Comic-Con and we're having such a great time. And one of the cool things that we've been able to do here is give away amazing stickers to everyone that's come through from StickerU.com. StickerU.com allows you to upload your logo or any artwork to the online editor, add text, borders, and order custom die-cut products from stickers to labels to decals, magnets, patches, badges, iron-ons. I mean, it's made for cons,
Now,
man.
these aren't those lazy stickers that you stick them somewhere and they droop off right away.
No, these are gorgeous, beautiful stickers.
Or the color fades real quick.
Oh, no. These are incredible stickers. They're top of the line. They're beautiful. And with StickerU.com, you can order any size, any shape, and any quality. Most
Any
sticker guys,
size, any shape?
We're talking, we have a sticker here that is absolutely enormous. Literally, I could stick it to you and it could be your costume. Most sticker guys out there force you to buy like a minimum number of stickers or pages. But with
I
StickerU,
hate those guys.
Yeah, no, with StickerU.com, there's no minimum. All right? You can do literally just one sticker. There's so much fun. It's so much fun.
Wait a second. If I just want one sticker.
You can get one sticker of whatever you want in whichever way you want it. There's no setup costs.
Unbelievable.
Or die charges. Like the
There's
other
no die
stickers.
charges?
No, there's no die charges like the other companies. It's really incredible stuff.
Making those other companies sound like jerks.
They are jerks. Sticker use technology automates everything, and the moment you check out, your custom manufacturing process is initiated. How about that?
I love when things are initiated.
Me too.
That's my favorite.
When people think of ordering online, they think of ready-made products that are boxed up, shipped out as soon as the order transaction is completed. But Sticker U is way cooler because everything's at your fingertips, and you could go on your phone. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on your computer. You got to check it out, and it goes right. It's literally to your specifications. So
Literally,
not figuratively, but literally. So if you're around, if you come to our shows, we're gonna have stickers for you because these stickers are amazing. Check them out, guys. They're awesome. And whether you need new stickers for your laptop, skateboard, or as handouts at an event, or you're coming to an awesome con like LA Comic-Con, this is the thing to do. You need to check them out. StickerU.com. That's right. StickerU.com. StickerU.com.
StickerWho.com?
StickerU.com. For He-Man.
Yes.
He-Man.
What's your relationship like with He-Man? How did
What's your relationship like?
What's your relationship
How long have
status?
you been dating?
Of all the toys we covered in
Yeah.
the first 2 seasons, that is easily the one I knew the least about.
Yeah.
I knew more about Hello Kitty. I knew more about Barbie than I did about He-Man.
Really?
Absolutely, by a wide margin. I never was into it. So I now have a pretty nice He-Man collection. I've very much gotten into it, and I love the story. I mean, just first of all, those guys were great.
They're so
Just
great.
great people to interview.
And they're so fun. These guys, Matt. These old guys are like, I came up with He-Man because I was a fan of Conan the Barbarian, and I drew a picture. And then another guy's like, I invented He-Man, and I invented him 30 years before that man in high school. And then some other guy's like,
that's actually a very
Accurate,
analysis.
yeah.
Of what happened. By the way, My Little Pony, very similar.
Really?
Except even more people involved. Claiming.
I always liked ponies. Well, yeah. So did the rest of the world. You know?
Yeah. So it's
So My Little Pony's in season 3.
yeah.
And do you interview any bronies as part of that? Like, do you get into that aspect of it?
We do. We get into it a little bit. I mean, I will say this. Now that I've produced the episode, I get it. Like, it's not weird because the ponies have. If you get into it for some like. I happen to produce a TV show about it. That was my end. If you have a sister or someone who gets you in, there's a whole mythology there. There is more of a mythology that I would argue makes more sense in My Little Pony than in He-Man.
Well, and Q is in My Little Pony.
Oh yeah, of
We
course.
interviewed.
John Delancey.
Yeah, we
Of course.
interviewed.
Did you interview Tara Strong, our
Yes,
dear
absolutely.
friend?
Yeah,
I love her.
I
She's
watched a
great.
documentary about bronies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He made it.
And then I forget which one it
John
was,
Lance.
but then there was only a tiny bit in it about the people who are cloppers, who are the ones I find really fascinating. Those are the people who are like into My Little Pony sexually. which is like a whole nother thing. They've got their
we
whole
didn't
art,
get
which
into
I'm sure you didn't do on
We
your
didn't
show.
get
but
into
yeah.
that.
Yeah, you were wise to stray from that.
I won't say who sent it to us because
Yeah, you know.
partly for legal reasons I can't tell you, but we were sent a hard drive of all porn stars who loved My Little Pony being interviewed about. Sorry, about Hello Kitty.
Okay.
Being interviewed about Hello Kitty, and it was just literally 2 hours of porn stars. Completely clothed, no sex, no nothing. Just being like, well, here's my My Little Pony, or sorry, here's
Hello
my
Hello
Hello
Kitty.
Kitty hairbrush, and here's my, and you're like,
What's funny is that's still porn for somebody.
Yeah.
Hearing porn stars talk about their My Little Pony collection or
Absolutely.
Hello Kitty collection is still someone is still excited
That
about
is-
that.
that
They're
is
like, and where would I
completely
go to find that?
Right, exactly.
yeah.
What about GI Joe? Where are you at with?
I love
Joe?
G.I. Joe. I always did. The Rattler was one of my favorite. I'd say the Rattler was one step below the Millennium Falcon for like my favorite toy.
Yeah.
That one had the cool battle damage panels that you could
Yes.
switch out.
That's right.
I loved that. I thought
and
that
it
was
had
the
that
coolest
Gatling
thing.
gun in
Yeah,
the
the
front.
turret with the
It
covered.
was an A10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
But-
G.I. Joe had the best action figures because they actually
Yeah.
bent in way more places and they had the
Oh,
rubber
yeah, they
band
were
holding them together.
really posable.
So you could do a lot more with them than like your Star Wars
Yeah.
figures are very stiff because they're just like plastic and you can.
Basically, the
Do
worst
not
thing
much.
that could happen to your G.I. Joe is his thumbs would snap off or his crotch would snap off. And then they were
bad
just
day.
kind of
So many crotchless men.
really ruined everything.
So
But
many
if that
men.
rubber band broke, he
Bad
was,
day on
he
the
was
flag.
screwed.
Bad
That
day.
was a hard.
I used
day.
one-
I always pretended that guy stepped on a landmine or something. The guy whose rubber band exploded.
I used one when I was in high school. We had to do. I had to do a report, and mine was on medieval torture devices. So I put
Sure.
a GI Joe action figure on a rack because I could actually stretch them out. And I
Really?
built a rack and put a GI Joe. It was Bazooka Joe. Put him on the rack.
Bazooka Joe.
Do you guys remember Manglore?
Sure.
Manglore.
Sure,
It was
sure.
like it smelled like chemicals. It looked like a grumpy version of the Jolly Green Giant, and like if the Jolly Green Giant and Swamp Thing had a baby man,
Yeah.
that's what this thing would be. And it was supposed to be indestructible. You could rip its arms and legs off, and they were supposed to stick back on forever.
Yeah.
But it just would kind of stick back on and then fall off, and then it slowly rotted. And every kid I knew had one that had like the cat had gotten to it or something like that, and they were all just jacked up. But it was a really
Poor
weird
Manglore.
toy
Toys
from
that
the
should have
80s.
not been made.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would
That's
be a fun
an episode
bonus.
I really want to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Toys that should not have been made.
I love go and sometimes I go through my mom's like old pile of toys that she has like in a box, and I'll find stuff like Silverhawks. Like I'll find like a Silverhawks toy or like a not a mat. Who was the name of the guys that had the reflector thing, the hologram?
Oh, Visionaries.
Visionaries, and like a Visionaries toy right now, like in good condition, is worth like a shitload of money. Like some of those are really worth.
Because nobody bought them back then.
One of the things that I loved about making the show was you really see how delicate success was. Like, and the greatest, and I hope we get to make this episode one day, the toys that should have not been made. The inspiration for that idea and what I think is the flagship toy of that show is Dune. Because you look at the line and what LJN put into it.
Yeah.
Because they truly, and it makes you appreciate Star Wars for the risk they took.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then Silverhawks and everything like that.
Yeah,
Like,
that
Clash
would
of
be
the Titans.
Yeah,
and-
very-
Oh my God, there's
Yeah.
tons of that stuff.
very, a lot of work to have
what
these.
do you-
Well, and you look
Absolutely.
at like even like Secret Wars, which was like you
Secret
pitched that
Wars
line
was a big hit.
today. Well, it only lasted like what, 2 waves?
I think it was more than 2 waves. I think it was 4 waves with a 5th that didn't get released.
There was like
because the
ones that got
license
released in the
expired
UK or
weird
something like that.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah, but like if you were to release that today,
Yeah.
there would be no end to. Well, it's basically
They're kinda
Marvel
perpetually
Legends.
Yeah, they're
Marvel
releasing
Legends,
it every
which
week.
is
Yeah.
insane. Marvel Legends is.
I don't know how they make money on those. They're beautiful.
They're
Yeah.
they're gorgeous.
I mean, they're
These
absolutely
toys are gorgeous.
By the way, on that topic, and this is something I should never bring up, but this is like my crack is Eagle Moss.
Oh, those little like they're pewter, aren't they?
No,
Or
they're metal. I don't think they're pewter, but they're the most. First of all, I think they're now making 180 issues. They're these beautiful Star Trek ship miniatures.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think they're greenlit to 180 issues. By like issue 11, they were out of like regular ships.
Yeah.
And they started making these ridiculous
Well,
things.
and they're doing people now too that look really realistic.
They're doing
the Alien franchise.
Yeah,
And I know a few others.
Well, I only do the Star Trek one in Galactica, but again, I don't know.
They're on to like,
how
here's
they
a
make
Breen
money.
warship that was in half
Absolutely.
of an episode. Yeah.
Right.
No,
yeah.
I mean, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Like they did that.
Yeah.
And that was
He's
by
like,
the
yes.
episode
He's like, that's
Yeah.
the one. He's like, it's on my shelf.
They're doing ships that were like out of focus Hulks floating by from the battle.
Are they doing stuff? See, I play a Star Trek mobile game on my phone all the time, right? And then they've gotten so many characters, and they're like, all right, so now we've got the alternate mirror universe Picard, which was never in the show, but it was in like 3 comic
He's in
episodes.
comic books. That's
comic
a
books.
huge
Right.
comic book line now.
Yeah.
But they
And he's
do
all
those
buffed
ships,
with like sleeveless shirt.
How many
or whatever.
different versions of Pike are there now on that game?
I think there's only 3 Pikes. I
Only
wanna say.
3. They've
Yeah.
And
only
Troy,
got 3.
also sleeveless.
a bunch of Troys, yeah.
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 Second officer.
But they do like Chaotica for Janeway when she was
Wow.
like in the holodeck, which is great.
Well, you know what's so funny about the toys that made us is that when regular people that are not like regular people who
We're
don't
not any of us.
yeah, who don't have shelves and shelves and shelves of action figures in their home or office, when those people watch this show, what ends up happening is
They
then
buy shelves.
Then they go, I better go buy some fucking shelves. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they go, I'm going to go find the things I had when I was a kid. And they start trying to look for those pieces.
right, yeah.
And one of those places
So
we
your
went
show
to,
should be produced by IKEA.
yeah, seriously, dude. Seriously, Mike took me to this place called Frankensons. And
You've been there.
I have a rule that I've never broken. I only go.
Don't
once.
go to
I
Frankenson.
only go once a year.
Wow.
I mean, it's
Yeah, you can get sucked in pretty
dude,
deep.
They have everything there.
Yeah.
everything.
Like I'd say, the odds of you asking them for 10 things,
Yeah.
if it had been cataloged,
Right.
I couldn't imagine it's not there.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I wanted the...
You know what it is? Like, do you know the history of the place?
No, I don't know anything about it.
It was a fulfillment center for early online, like eBay people. So that most of the original people there, which is I think still more than half,
Yeah.
that's just where they kept their shit. Like, and then they'd get their orders, they'd go there and ship it, and then basically people started coming, and they were like, well, I guess why don't we open the whole thing to everybody?
Yeah.
And that was the order. It was a fulfillment.
That
center.
makes a lot of
It's
sense.
2 warehouses.
Because there's that whole front section that's all like arts and crafts, weird.
Well, that's part of the newer place since it was
Stuff.
open to the public.
Oh, okay.
But like, yeah, it was literally just a place for people to store stuff that didn't own a store.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's brilliant. Like when you go there, it's just
Oh, my
yeah.
God.
There's literally a shop for
I-
everything.
I haven't gone
You
this
know.
year yet
yeah.
because I've been out of control buying stuff. By the way, speaking of that, do you know there's another vintage toy store a block away from Blast from the Past?
Which place are you talking
One
Which
block
place?
over.
Are you
Are you talking about Burbank
it's called
Antiques?
Black Hat Comics.
Really?
I have not been there.
I was at Blast from the Past.
Right.
I was leaving. One of the guys there started asking me about episodes, and we were talking. And as I'm sure you could tell, I love talking about Dune.
Sure.
And he's like, "Well, you got to go to Black Hat Comics. They got a lot of Dune there." I go, "What is that?"
What?
He's like, "Oh, it's a block away." I literally walked there.
Which direction?
Towards Buena Vista,
Okay.
towards Burbank, towards downtown Burbank.
Okay, so wait, towards
Towards
where
the Taco
Pinocchio's
Bell.
is? To where
I don't know where Pinocchio's is.
If you're coming
Towards
out,
the Taco
out the
Bell.
front door of Blast from the Past,
If you,
Left or
leave,
right?
if you walk out and it's behind you,
Yeah.
take a left, walk a block and a half,
Okay.
and it's fantastic.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what happened
Steve
over
was
there?
like, how far is it by car?
What if an out of shape person wanted to go?
A block and a half? I don't have all day.
I went to Blast from the Past one time, and they go. I said, I'm really looking for vintage, Star Wars stuff. And they,
Yeah.
at the time, they were a little low. Now they've got a lot of vintage Star Wars stuff. But I was like, I'm really looking for this stuff. And they were like, there's another place down the street called Burbank Antiques. You can go over there if you want. I walk into Burbank Antiques, and they've got the Cantina set, the Cantina toy from the 1980s.
It's like a very narrow, small store?
Yes.
Like these two
and they've got a lot of lunch
retired
pails.
This retired couple owns it?
Yeah. And I walk in, I go, how much is the Cantina set? And the guy goes, $45. And I go, $45 for an original 1978 Cantina set. And he goes, And I go, yeah, here's my $45. Thank you. I take it. It's got all the original pieces, got the doors, got the bar, the whole thing.
I'm surprised to hear that because he seems to be pretty good on his prices.
Yeah. I get it. As I'm walking out.
The new one?
Yeah. As I'm walking out. No, it's not new. It's original. I go, well, how much are these over here? These other ones. He's like, oh, these action figures. These are like $5 a piece. And I was like, these are all original vintage Star Wars toys. I go, great. I was like, I'll take these like 10 or 15 of these fucking toys. I buy like about $100 worth of stuff. I leave. I come back like a week later, and he goes, all the Star Wars toys are now $30 a piece, and they have another Cantina set, and the Cantina set is $185.
Yeah, how long ago is this? Because he's usually pretty good with the prices.
This is about 2 years ago.
And
he goes, yeah, we didn't know, I just didn't know I didn't really know what this stuff really was, and the guy who owned this stuff, he had just priced it real low to get rid of it. And but now he knows how much it's worth, so now he's selling it for the right price. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Well, it was nice coming here that one time. Bye. See, like every once in a while, I'll have one of those like on some lady. I got a ship that I've always wanted since I was a kid, that I got for like recently, and I got it through Facebook on Facebook
Marketplace. Yeah.
I put in Star Wars vintage, and a lady was selling the Imperial shuttle with the big fin.
Yeah. Tidarium.
Yeah.
Fly casual.
Oh, so cool.
Not too casual.
Yeah. And it's almost perfect. It's missing one little tiny little, covering area. But
that thing
really
was like to scale.
Yeah.
Like when it came out, it was like one of the few that was like huge.
I got one.
Enormous.
And I don't even have a Millennium Falcon, but I got that.
I said, how much for this thing? And she was like, it's $40. And I was like, okay. Is it original? When's it from? She goes, I don't know. It's my boyfriend's, but fuck him. He's a real
he's
asshole.
Not here.
He's not around, and so you can come pick it up. Come meet me in this grocery store shopping center. I meet her in the grocery store shopping center. She pulls it out in the box, in the original box, and I got it. I gave her $50 for it. Took it, and then I go, do you have any of his other stuff that he's getting rid of? And she goes, I have an A-Wing, and I bought an original 1980s
like a droid's A-Wing.
And it is just, it's great.
The droid's A-Wing.
Well, it's the
I think that was the only one in the 80s.
The only one. It's the 19...
No, was that right? I thought there was a real A-Wing than a droid's A-Wing.
I don't know.
I could be wrong.
It might...
By the way, I've become obsessed with droids.
I think it is the
show
droid's
brought
A-Wing,
out of me.
Yeah.
And it's like a purplish color, and it's got the dates on it and everything.
Yeah, it's burgundy.
Burgundy, yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
If you remind me after this, I think we still have some Season 1 magnets wrap gift, which was, do you remember Vlix?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Vlix. Vlix, we had a 5-minute pod on Vlix in the first cut.
Nice.
And our executive at Netflix, Nat Gruley, was the best exec ever. He was like, I'm pretty sure you don't need a 5-minute section on Vlix. And that, to be honest with you, that kind of saved the show, because that became our metaphor for what to leave in and cut out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Has there been interviews that you've had with people on that show where you were like, oh, we can't put this in, or it just
that's an understatement.
Really?
My entire career, except for this show, the number one thing you want when people you interview them is they get angry. Second place is sad and crying. With the greatest irony ever, I've never produced a show in my life with more anger and crying than this one.
Wow.
There are people, but I decided early on that's not the show we're making. This is a happy show about toys.
Yeah.
Right.
The He-Man episode, for example, I can talk about this
There's a
now
lot.
because the new doc got into it a lot more than
A lot
ours
of bad
did.
blood there.
We were like, hey, there's 4 guys that kind of don't like each other. They really hate each other. We interviewed, not on He-Man, but on another toy. One of the things we showed in the Star Wars episode was that after Hasbro bought Kenner, because Star Wars was so successful, Hasbro did a very bizarre thing in any business, not just the toy business. Like, I've within reason never heard of this happening before. Basically, Hasbro was like, yeah, we're number 1. We bought you, but we're going to fire all our department heads and replace them with you. So, it's in the He-Man, it's in the G.I. Joe episode,
Wow.
I think, where we show one of the creators or one of the craftsmen be like, yeah, I was overseeing like $80 million a year in business, and then they put me in charge of Play-Doh because everybody got replaced with Kenner. A lot of the people we interviewed about that time, I mean, we interviewed a guy, he literally was shaking with rage. And like I said, any other show I've produced, that would have been in the cold open.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Would have opened on that.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't want that to be, I wanted this to be a happy show.
Wow.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So-
shit.
We are putting out a DVD next year.
Really?
So that'll be every,
DVD extras, all that.
what I think it's all literally being done right now. But what I think we're going to do, and I'm told this is not a good idea, but I still think I'm going to do it. Because my theory is nobody's going to buy this who hasn't seen it. Like, I'm 99% of people are going to buy it for the extras. So I think we're just going to put the full first cuts. So you'll
that's
see
interesting.
so every episode, instead of being 44 minutes, every episode will be like 65 to 90 minutes.
Wow.
Wow.
And you just see the first cut.
I
and
think
it'll be-
that's what people are going to want if
That's
they're
what
going to
I
get it. Because
think.
if they
Yeah.
want to see the show as it is, they
Yeah.
just turn on Netflix.
Yeah.
Nobody
that's-
has stopped having Netflix and is going to buy a
Right,
DVD.
yeah.
That's not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what
That's
exclusive action figure will come with the DVD set?
We,
Oh,
NECA.
man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we have partnered with this is new. This is your breaking news here.
Oh, nice.
Well done, Mike Black.
Very proud of myself right now.
It's a TV with the
Yeah.
toys that made us on the screen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's very cool. You know, they have another TV coming out, Freddy Krueger.
That's already
The
out.
primetime
and,
bitch
That's
one,
kind of how
you
we got
know.
a deal on.
Oh, nice.
It's just the screen's not smashed.
There'll be nice bookends. You know?
I love that. That's so
Mike's like,
great.
where do I pre-order? That's
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Seriously.
as somebody, you've seen a lot of the toy business. What do you think makes a successful toy different from an unsuccessful toy? Like when you talk about Thundercats being a flop, it's not that people didn't like the Thundercats. Like, why did the toy flop?
It's luck.
Yeah.
It's absolute luck. Dune bombing, that was normal. Star Wars succeeding
Was astonishing.
was not just astonishing. I mean, it didn't just succeed. It's the #1 movie of all time.
Was.
So this guy bet.
Till Avatar. But,
No, if you take into account inflation by
well,
a
then
wide
it's
margin.
Gone with the Wind. But
Well, fair enough. Fair enough. I said, this guy's fun at parties.
He's a real pain in the ass.
But I mean,
Those
fair
Gone
enough.
with the Wind figures.
Not selling lately.
Brian,
nobody's buying Red.
Brian, on the way here, I literally said to Matt, I go, our friendship of Matt and my friendship is basically us trying not to kill each other all the time while having so much fun.
That's what it is.
basically what
That's
it
fair
is.
enough.
Friendship.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it really, I mean, if you saw the He-Man episode, I mean, it was these two dudes bullshitting about everything that happened at work, and it caught on where so many other toys right around the same time failed.
Yeah.
So it really, you just got to get lucky that you're tapping into the right thing at the right time. I think He-Man would have failed without the cartoon, so it's lucky there was a cartoon there. But then you could make the argument there were a lot of shows with cartoons, including Thundercats.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Thundercats, even though a little kid might not know what the word derivative means,
Yeah.
can feel
Can
the
feel it,
emotion
yeah.
of
Yeah.
derivative, and got it. Like, this is just He-Man in fucking blue spandex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He-Man
These are
as a cat.
cats.
Yeah. So it really, and then again, you have Star Trek, which was the great example of everything was working on screen, but the toys wouldn't do well, or then it'd be canceled and everything failed and the toys were doing well. Like it was all just very lucky. I mean, everybody had to go with their gut, and sometimes it worked. A Mask is another underappreciated
Mask.
failure. I mean, utter fail. And by the way, a really funny failure. Because
it really is, yeah.
The first 2 years, the Mask that it seems like you really know your toys, so you probably know
quite
this.
a bit, yeah.
But the first 2 lines in the 2 seasons of the cartoon, they were the things we know. The cars became the planes and everything.
Right.
Literally the last year was just it was completely. What was the name of that?
There was one where they fought like a giant poison cloud or something.
No, but everything changed. They weren't like motorcycles that became helicopters anymore. They became. It was like a completely different.
There was a lot of
gimmick.
a lot more gimmicks. A lot of like phasing, like things that would cloak and turn like invisible. They had like a lot of the figures started becoming invisible and stuff.
It was even more.
And like the bad guy had an evil twin brother who was even more evil.
But it got away from the masks. Like, they didn't even use the masks anymore. The greatest example of all time with this is. What is the name of that Tim Burton movie with Johnny Depp where he's like a vampire?
Dark Shadows.
Dark Shadows.
Yeah.
Dark Shadows is the greatest example of this.
The series when it went off the rails.
The series in the 1960s back in the day, right?
When the show came out, it was literally just a soap opera.
Yeah.
There was no supernatural element whatsoever. The ratings were bad. The network was like, if you don't double your ratings in 6 weeks, you're off the air. And they were like, well, you got nothing to lose. And then one day, everyone at home was watching the same thing they'd been watching for a year. And a ghost came out of the wall. And all of a sudden, it became a ghost and goblin
Well,
show.
an even better example of that, Amazing Fantasy. It was all like romance, teen, drama, comic books.
Right.
And then on the 15th issue, they were like, we're canceling this. And Stan Lee was like, so I can just do what I want on the last one? And they're like, yeah. So he wrote Spider-Man.
100% true.
That's how Spider-Man came about?
Yeah.
Oh, I never heard that before.
Isn't that cool?
I never heard that.
Yeah,
I thought it was a guy got bit by a radioactive spider, but what do I know?
No, that's the story. But, that's the one he told in the 15th
I've never
issue.
heard. That's so embarrassing.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
There's
a famous soap opera that Aaron Spelling did.
Yeah.
Where they had no control. The network had no control of the budget.
Yes.
And it was a regular soap opera. And then they canceled him, but he still had one more episode to shoot.
Yeah.
And again, I shouldn't say this with you around, but I believe, taking into account inflation to this day, it's the most expensive hour of all time. It was literally like a complete regular soap opera, like Dallas. In that last episode, out of nowhere, an alien spaceship lands, and all the characters get into a Shout Factory re-released it solely because it has such a and they built literally a full-size section.
That's amazing.
Of the bottom of the spaceship that they lowered down on cranes and shot it, and it was just a fuck you from Aaron Spelling to the network. Cancel me, motherfuckers.
That is
awesome.
Oh, I love
if you
that.
Google it, Aaron Spelling Spaceship Land. It was a one-season show that again had nothing to do with aliens.
Nothing about aliens until
or
the last
anything.
episode.
And then alien ship landed.
Oh, I love stuff like
That's
that.
like the St. Elsewhere final episode.
Oh, yeah.
I actually don't know that.
Matt, you probably can tell this better than I could.
So
Google
St. Elsewhere runs for like 7-8 years, whatever it was. And then at the end, the final scene, it turns out that there was like an autistic child that was looking at a snow globe, that all of this was in his imagination. He was imagining St. Elsewhere was happening inside the snow globe, which was St. Elsewhere Hospital. And people have used that because of a crossover to theorize that everything on NBC in the 1980s was inside this kid's imagination, where they're like Cheers and the Golden Girls. It was all inside that kid's imagination. And by extension, Seinfeld, I think, was somehow in that kid's imagination. Like they sailed it through.
I'm in a... What's the deal with this globe?
I never heard that before.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Because that's like one of the people, like one they say is one of the worst finales of all time. If you're going to do a twist finale, the way they did it on Newhart, where they went back to the Bob Newhart show, was really good.
Right.
But then every other time they've tried to do these big twist endings, and you're like, no, that just kind of shat all over the whole show.
Super weird.
So funny. Is Google getting worse? I've never.
Yeah, they've been weird the last few days.
Never
I've
had
noticed.
a problem finding us.
You looking the St. Elsewhere snow globe?
No. I'm looking up the spaceship landing thing. Maybe it wasn't spelling.
Maybe that was in an autistic child's imagination.
Imagination as well.
Maybe
There's an alien.
Maybe an autistic alien
Well,
landed his ship.
well, even though this will air in a week or so after our Comic-Con, our LA Comic-Con experience with you, Brian, I gotta say, I'm super, super excited about you coming to do Antiques Nerd Show.
I'm
Because,
so psyched to be invited. Thank you.
Like, here's the
You're
thing
bringing
is,
stuff.
I'm bringing some things.
You're
from
bringing
home.
stuff.
I'm
bringing stuff, and I don't even really collect toys, but I'm bringing my coolest things I've got.
I don't think Brian's going to bring
All
anything.
four of them?
I
because-
appreciate that.
Yeah, no, you don't have
I
to bring
told you
anything,
the
Brian.
story.
It's more than
I
fine.
brought something to San Diego Comic-Con,
And somebody stole it.
No, I was just terrified. It's one
yeah.
of my prized possessions. You're a Trekkie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a Wesley Crusher Galoob figure.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
Oh.
only do I have that, I have it on the Captain Picard artwork.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I brought that with me because I was told to. And then I spent the rest of the day terrified. I was gonna lose it.
Yeah.
You're like in a
Yeah.
put in a briefcase that's handcuffed to your wrist or something.
Yeah, which is-
Yeah, it's
not the
nerve-wracking.
best way to go around.
Yeah, that is the worst
San Diego
environment to
Comic-Con.
have
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, to be
You know?
walking around with something that precious. That's why I'm going to bring something from Mask, I believe. But I'm not going to say what it is. But I'll bring a couple like cool pieces.
I'm bringing
You know
something that is video game related, but is not an actual game.
I got a small coin I can put in my pocket. Maybe I'll bring
that you can protect.
Yeah,
Hey.
it's an unreleased droids coin.
Oh,
What?
very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
I'll try and remember that.
Well, the thing is, though, is it's like the reason I wanted to do it is because I became super, and we're going to wrap up shortly. I became super, super obsessed with Antiques Roadshow, and my favorite thing about it was just watching people get excited and talking about what things are worth, but also the things that they hold so close. That's like such an important thing, something that they've carried on, that either their parents passed down to them, something they kept since they were a kid, or that they hunted for to like find, and so then that's why I was like,
Am I going to look ridiculous not bringing something?
No, because you're the guy.
expert.
You're the guy with the show.
Oh,
like you don't
alright.
have to have
okay.
things. Yeah,
See,
you just come and chat with us
He
about
thinks
our
he's
things.
so
My-
good, he didn't need to bring anything.
no,
Mike-
no.
Mike is like the Rick from Pawn Stars. Steven is the Chumley. And then you're the when he's like, hey, I got to go talk to my friend Brian. And then you're the friend Brian that comes in and talks about the toys.
All right, because I'm planning on buying a lot down there, hopefully.
First of all, that's Pawn Stars, not Antiques Roadshow.
I know.
You fucking
Different show.
lunatic.
all right.
I'm the
All right,
Mark
we got to
Wahlberg.
wrap things up. Brian, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Brian Volk-Weiss on Instagram. You know, that's probably the best place.
Are you tweeting as well?
I don't tweet.
Not a big
I
Twitter.
Instagram and
Tweeting?
Facebook. That's it.
That's
I got two of the three.
That's good. What about Matt? Where can people find you, buddy?
Go to funnymat.com. I got links to everything there. Or if you want to quibble with me about whether I should beat up J.J. Abrams or not, let me know at mattwalkersucks.com.
Yeah, absolutely. And people do
Yeah.
that. And Mike, where can people find you?
At Mike Black Attack on all social media.
Absolutely.
And don't forget, our brand new website is
Yes.
just launching, thenighttimeshow.com, which we just finished like
TheNighttimeShow.com.
yesterday.
It's got merchandise. It's got photos. It's got cool stuff. It's got
Links to the podcast.
Links to the podcast. All of it is on there. It's so great. Matt built it himself.
It's a
TheNighttimeShow.com.
mere $45
Yeah,
entry fee
totally.
to go to our website. No, it's totally free.
Yeah. When does the new season of The Toys That Made Us actually?
Early 2019. That's all I can say.
Wonderful. All right.
Yeah.
Well, don't.
And I honestly don't know, but it'll be Q1.
Well, don't forget to check out The Toys That Made Us on Netflix. Season
you.
1 and 2
Thank
are
you.
both on
Thank
there
you.
right now. And you can always follow me at Stephen Glickman, STPHEN, Glickman on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm hosting consistently on the Instagram Live a little amazing advice with Stephen Glickman, where I'm trying to give people advice about their lives, and I'll tell you what, even if you don't ask for advice, you should watch it because it's super fucking weird. It's so weird. If you have toys that you love, please tag us on Instagram, post some pictures, and tag us on Twitter and places like that. And if you are in Los Angeles, California, November 17th is the nighttime show with
Michael Dorn.
Michael Dorn, who played Worf on Star Trek. And then for Christmas, December 16th, we have Drake Bell on that lineup. December 15th. That's what I said. Sorry. Yes, December 15th, which is Drake Bell is on that show. A couple other wonderful, wonderful people. And that will be a toy donation show for
Children's Hospital.
For Children's Hospital Los Angeles. Maybe, Brian, maybe we can chat about having you come and chat with us at the Improv that night if you end up wanting to.
I would love that, and
we
also
we could show a clip.
Show. Yeah.
We could show like a little clip from the Toys That Made Us because it's a toy.
Or if you want to come meet
show.
Michael Dorn, come on.
I've met him. I have a picture of him right in that other room.
He's a beautiful man,
wonderful guy. But no, we'd love to support that. Anything for charity.
We'll do something fun. Absolutely,
any way we can.
Hey guys, this was so much fun. Thanks again.
Thank you.
And you're the best. Bye.
Goodbye.